friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. I am going to play with the same stamp set I used to make this card a couple of months ago. I thought I would share 3 quick and easy slimline cards that you could make with that same stamp set. So I'm starting out with this, by the way, is the Blooming Bunch stamp set from Trinity Stamps. I'm going to use these gorgeous Trinity Stamps Dainty scalloped edge dies. Those are mini slimline dies, or slimline mini dies. And then I have this gorgeous thank you set from Trinity Stamps called Thank You Senti-mini. And I love it because it's got the 2 thank you and thanks big script sentiments and a lot of little secondary sentiments you can add to really personalize a thank you card. So I have cut down a bunch of 6 by 6 inch squares. I'm going to score and fold them all at 3 inches, so my finished card will be 3 by 6 inches. I really like this size because easy to complete a whole background. I did also cut some front card panels at 3 by 6, which is a perfect size for all 3 of those mini slimline dainty scalloped edged dies, and I love those. Those are wonderful. I love the little scallop detail. So one of the things I really that really drew me to this stamp set was, of course, that big floral, but it also has 6 little butterflies in it. And I'm going to create one quick and easy floral card. I'm going to show you a way to add color quickly to your cards so you don't have to spend all afternoon coloring them. They still look beautiful, and it's kind of a fun way to color them in. And I'm going to create 2 of these little 2 little cards with the butterflies. Like, those butterflies are fantastic. I'm using all 6 butterflies here. I'm using my Pentel photopolymer eraser to just condition the stamps and remove any manufacturing residue. I have used these before. I'm just not sure which ones I've used and which ones I haven't. So my goal here, by the way, is to use things in my stash. Like, all of this is stuff from my stash. I didn't go out and buy anything new. Like, I've had this stuff for a few months, and I just am trying to use what I already have. So I pulled out 6 markers. I have 2 pinks. This is RV13, which I'm using as my darker pink, and you can see I'm just putting it around the edge, and then I'm using RV91 and sort of coloring in the rest. Then I have 2 purples. I have BV02, my dark one, and then BV00 will be my light one. And I'm sort of just going around the edges. Sometimes I don't even go around the whole edge. Like, I'm just coloring it in. And then I have 2 yellows, Y17 and Y13. And again, I'm doing the darker around the edge and filling it in. I feel like when you add color, you just want to show some variation in color. If you just color the wings in one color, they look kind of flat. So I like to use at least 2 colors when I'm doing my minimal coloring. Like, just 2 colors is all I need, and I'll add some white gel pen just for fun. I'm just adding some dots on all the wings. And I like adding some white gel pen details because I feel like it brightens up the image. I don't know why. That little bit of white actually, I think it almost gives your eyes a place to rest, and it just breaks it up. So for this card, I'm going to use the largest of the slimline dies here, and I do need to trim them apart, which was very tricky because they were super close together. So I have the thinnest wire cutters I could find here, and it was a challenge. I also am going to use my mini die cut machine, and I love this little die cut machine. It's so handy to have on my desk, and it makes die cutting very convenient. The trick, though, is this is exactly 3 inches wide, and the trick is actually getting it started. So, like, I had to fuss with it a little while to get it started. So once I got that started, you can see what a beautiful edge that gives your card. So I'm just going to add my thank you here, and I'm going to kind of tuck that thank you in around the butterflies, and I'll put a secondary sentiment along the bottom, and in this case I put from the bottom of my heart. So my card will say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I really like it. The black ink I'm using here, by the way, is my Color Hive ink. I really love this ink because it allows me to immediately start coloring with my Copics. So this is my favorite ink to use when I'm coloring with my Copics. If you're watercoloring, you can watercolor with it as long as after you ink up the black, you then ink it in clear embossing ink and use some clear embossing powder and put that clear coat over the top of it. It is a dye-based ink, so it will bleed if you watercolor on it. It's perfect for Copic markers though. So, but you do need to heat emboss some clear over the top of it. Clear embossing powder over the top of it. So I actually used that speckled egg distress oxide to just give a little color around the edges of my card base, and I used foam tape here to pop these up, and I add 3 little blue dots with B00 under each butterfly just for a little detail. You could add some splatter if you wanted it, and these Trinity stamps or Trinity jewel embellishments come in the most amazing storage container. Like, these are really nice, and these are yellow and they're quite pretty. There are actually at least three different sizes of those embellishments in that package, by the way. So that was a nice easy card. For this card I decided I would just ink blend on some of that speckled egg across the whole top. I'm sorry, my table is very rickety and I apologize for that, but it's over just while I ink blend. I did spritz the speckled egg with water, but I don't notice that with this particular color of Distress Oxide it has a lot of effect. It's very subtle with this color. I mean, some colors you can really see what you've done. So I'm going to take out this little piece of white scrap paper, cardstock, and I'm just picking 3 of the butterflies, and I'm going to stamp those again in my black. This is Eclipse Black Color Hive ink, and then I will color them in with my markers again, just like I did before. So keeping it simple, and you can see I'm just on the outside, and you could not bother with the second color if you don't want. The next card I'm going to make, I'm going to show you that I only use 1 color on the edges, but my card ends up being very colorful in the end, and I really like the way it turned out, and it took me just a couple of minutes to do that. So the fussy cutting takes me a little while. They do actually, Trinity Stamps does actually have a die, but I never buy coordinating dies. I usually use my brother's Scan and Cut, but I'm not going to turn it on for this because we've been getting a lot of messages from the electric company to please cut down on our electric usage during all this heat. So I am fussy cutting instead of using my electronic die cutting machine, my brother's Scan and Cut. And I enjoy fussy cutting in limited quantities. So I did go ahead and die cut the middle. This is the middle die. There are 3 of those really pretty dainty scalloped edge dies in there, and I'm using the middle one for this, so I'll get that all popped out. And I did ink blend that with the speckled egg. It's very subtle and hard to see on film, but it really looks pretty in person. So for this one, I'm going to put that thank you is going to be the focal point. And for the second card, the secondary sentiment that I used is for your kindness. And I love stamp sentiment sets like this because you can really personalize the sentiment, and you can use one sentiment set and make a whole bunch of different combinations from all the secondary sentiments that you have there. So I really like it. So I'm just going to add that card front there again with some foam tape. And I added it to my card base, and you can see I have a nice amount of white space around. This is the middle mini die here, and I love this size. I think this is such a fun size to create with. Little oopsie there, I'm making a little mess, but you know, I managed to get some of the smaller ones out. There's like a medium size and a really tiny size. And pardon my hands, I have been doing a lot of mixed media lately, so you can see I have red ink and black ink all over my hands, and it is dye ink, but it doesn't just wash off that easily. Although I have noticed shampoo takes it off really well, by the way. So I do use art glitter glue to put these on. I like it because it dries clear, and I use 3. I'm stingy with my embellishments because I like to put them on all my cards, and I want to really stretch my supply. So that completes the second card that I'm making today. And then for my final card, I want to use that floral. I love that floral. The floral is the reason that I looked at the stamp set in the first place, because it's gorgeous. And with the mini, I'm only going to get part of that image in there. So since my card front is 3 by 6, and this one I'm not going to cut down, because by the time I get my floral on there, I'm already eliminating part of it by using the mini size. And then by the time I get those fabulous sentiments on there, I don't want to cut any more off. So I decided not to use the dye this time. And I definitely need, here's how you know when you need to re-ink your ink pad. If this ink pad inks beautifully every time, as do these stamps. When it isn't inking perfectly every time, it's time to re-ink your ink pad. So I know that. So in between this project and my next project, that my black ink pad will be getting re-inked. So there it is. Isn't that pretty? Like, that's just so pretty. And you could put a couple butterflies around there too. Here's how I'm coloring it. I'm taking the darkest of the 2 colors. So this is the darkest pink. It's the RV91, I believe, or RV13, that's what it was. This is the Y17, and I'm just coloring one edge, and I'm doing a little flick on this particular flower because the petals are pretty big, toward the base of the flower, and then I'm just adding a little bit of color. And I'm doing the bottom and the right side on the right hand of the flower, and the left hand side of the petals on the left hand side of the flower, if that makes sense. And I'm using the BV02 for the violet, and then I have to pull out a bunch of greens. So I have G, does that say, I can't even read what that says, 28, I think. G28. And I just picked one stem there, and then I pulled out a G09. And then I wanted a yellowy green, so I did YG07. And again, just coloring the side, and on the bigger ones, I'm just flicking a little from the bottom also. You could just do one side. It's a kind of a fun coloring technique because it almost looks like an illustration. And then I decided to pull out E29 or 39, I think this is E39, and just add some stippling, which means dots, to the left-hand side of that, and put the brightness on the right-hand side of the flower. So now I'm adding my sentiment, and this one says, "Thanks so very much." So I've used this same little stamp set for my sentiments for all 3 of these cards, and none of the sentiments are the same. They're all different. I love that, and there are certainly a lot more little secondary sentiments on that stamp set that I can create even more sentiments with. So again, I'll add some foam to the back of this and put it onto one of the card bases, and I am going to go ahead and add some more of those little yellow jewels embellishments that I got. I really love that rhinestones are coming back because it was one of my favorite embellishments to add when I first started card making, so I'm very excited that those are coming back. And I love the Trinity Stamps embellishments because they come in that really nice little container, and what a great way to store it. It comes with storage, and I love that when a company plans ahead for how I should be storing my stuff. And I'm going to put all the links below So I love it when you click on my links. Even if you purchase nothing, if you click on my links, it lets the store owners know that you liked what I made, and it really does help me out. So just clicking on the link and browsing in the store is helpful. And definitely browse these craft stores, because they're all putting beautiful samples that their design teams make on their store websites. So thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I would love to have you subscribe to my channel while you're here. Have a wonderful day, friends.